Hello, this is Jacob Dotson, pastor at Worcester Mennonite Church, and I'd like to introduce the next video segment in which Kevin Himes and David Hargrave talk about the idea of microaggression. Listen very carefully in this video to the examples that David gives. And I have several questions to ask you as we go through this video for you to keep in the back of your mind. First, David talks about what a complex experience it can be just to go to the store. He is constantly seeking to be vigilant and aware of the environment and the people that are around him. I want you to think about how David's story in relation to this impacts you. What would that be like to have that experience when you go to the store? And the broader question, what would it be like to be a black person in Wayne County? What daily struggles might you face? And finally, what emotional toll do you imagine that it would have on David and others who live under such constant scrutiny and mistrust? Thank you.
David, and maybe if you could define this a little bit, because not everyone watching this video might not know what this term means, but have you ever experienced racist microaggressions? So maybe if you could, before you answer the question, just help us understand what are racial microaggressions, and after that, what was your experience through that?
Yeah, I love that term, microaggression. I think the oversimplified way to describe that is subtle, aggressive responses that a person might experience due to their race. And so it's the subtle, the little things that may happen on a daily basis. And I think this is that's probably a lot more common. And I could just rattle off a list of experiences. Again, I don't keep them at the front of my mind because they can weigh, it can be depressing, but I'm always aware. And so examples for me, my wife and I, we try and walk at least 3 times a week together, and when we can't do it together, we usually do it separately. And one thing that I've observed is when I am walking by myself, the facial expressions and responses of people that I don't know and that don't know me, it's closed or semi-hostile. Wow. The other side of that, whenever I'm walking with my wife or with my daughters, people that I don't know are more open. I'll get the smiles, people waving, hello, how's your day? And so the underlying message that's always present as a black male, I'm a threat, I guess. I make people uncomfortable. And so I think by having my wife and my children in those social settings, maybe people are they feel a little less threatened by me. And so that's one example of that I would say micro aggression. But there are lots of maybe I'll share one or two more. Back to the grocery store. I'm very cognizant of that I am a threat, or I appear to be a threat, so I'm aware of that. And so I make it my business, if I am coming behind someone, like if I'm getting in line, I make it my business even before COVID. I want to be sure that I leave a lot of distance so the other person does not feel threatened. But if I am not dressed up, it is very, very common for it's generally white women to grab their purses or look at me with kind of a scowl as like, are you getting too close? And so I try and make sure that I don't evoke that kind of a response by make sure I give enough distance, and I also I want to be sure that I'm not scowling. So if I'm thinking, maybe I'm thinking about a problem or something, my expression might be even make me appear more threatening. So I try to keep make sure I have a pleasant appearance. When I don't, and so here's the microaggression thing. If I'm caught up or whatever it may be, then I will notice the scowls or the people grabbing a purse and that kind of a thing. Although I've never committed a crime, don't have a criminal record, but yeah, my appearance. The last one example I will share, that I've learned this from experience. When I'm in a store, whether it be grocery store, Walmart, or whatever, if I look down an aisle and there is generally a white woman, and she's the only one on the aisle, I am not going to go down. I'll just, I want to make sure other people are there or that person has a chance to leave, because very often it's the same kind of a response, or people will very quickly leave when they see me coming down that aisle, unless my wife is with me or some of my daughters. It's a group like that, and then I am less, I guess I appear less of a threat. So those are a few examples of microaggression.
David, it seems like you need to have like this heightened social awareness in so many different environments that you walk into. I mean, basically just having to have your radar up like that, and that sounds exhausting, and I would be angry if. How have you worked through that? I mean, is this just something that you've adapted to, or how does that make you feel, knowing that that's become almost a daily or weekly routine for you?
It's life, and you put it, like I say, I put it in the back of my mind and compartmentalize it, and have accepted that this is what life is like. But where it gets a little tender for me at times, when my children or my son or other relatives, I have a lot of nephews and friends, and so when others experience it and talk about it, then it gets tender. It reminds me of that thing that's already there.
I want to thank you for watching our video, and I want to encourage you to discuss further this video in the context where you are, in the group that you're with. I want us to keep in mind Jesus' words in John chapter 13, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you." How does this call to love one another extend to the church's response to racism? I hope you'll carry this question with you as you continue through this series. Thank you.